This is a VHS cassette, but it's not just any VHS, this is a V-Lite cassette. What's so special about that? Well, as the name suggests, V-Lite, it's very light. Why would that be useful? Well, let's take a look. Wow, that is light. The V-Lite cassette was created, as its patent application states, to fulfill the enormous demand for inexpensive and lightweight limited-use videocassette cartridges that are suitable for mailing. According to an advert that I can only access the summary of, it only costs 20 cents to mail a V-Lite tape. Okay, let's weigh up the difference, literally, between a standard VHS cassette and a V-Lite cassette. So we'll start off with the standard one. This is a 4-hour tape, and on these scales that weighs 215 grams. A V-Lite, well, that weighs approximately 52 grams. One of the main uses of the V-Lite cassette seems to be direct marketing campaigns, with the recipient often being encouraged to watch the tape for a chance of winning a prize. This excerpt from Billboard mentions 20,000 V-Lites being mailed out for a campaign to promote a direct-to-video children's animated short. The maximum running time of a V-Lite tape seems quite limited. Looking through the titles listed on Discogs, the longest running one I can find only has 3 music videos on it. So I think we should compare this against something more appropriate. This is just a promo thing. It's got a small amount of tape on here, perhaps the lightest standard VHS tape I've got in the house. So remember, 51, 52 grams for the V-Lite. This, well, still around about 2.5 times as heavy. So yeah, the V-Lite is a very light cassette. Now, I think the other reason that this wasn't thrown away long ago is because at some point somebody miscatalogued it. On the side here there's a sticker that says it's the Great Gatsby. I couldn't understand why they'd say that, but in reality this is just a promo for a Great Gatsby TV movie that's appearing on A&E on January the 14th. In with this, there's also a bit of a competition where students can enter and win a trip to a set of a future A&E production and an opportunity to appear as an extra and a $1,000 department grant for their school. On the back here it does mention this is a genuine V-Lite video cassette, and it says important to play, remove the tear-away door and tighten the videotape if it has become loose during shipping. To tighten it, simply rotate the right hub in a clockwise direction and then insert the cassette into the VCR and press play. So let's just get this shrink wrap off. Now, one thing that they did to reduce the weight down, and it's mentioned quite a lot in the patent application, is regarding the door. As you know, in a normal cassette you've got a protective door. Well, this just has this piece of paper on here which I'm supposed to tear off. Let's give it a go. This is just supposed to, hold on, rip that way. I don't think that's gonna, let's do it like that, that's better. Right. And there's not an awful lot going on here. There's nothing in the way of rollers. That's just a piece of tape, I think, for it to glide over, maybe a bit of plastic. So yeah, it's really very basic. It's amazing that this thing will play. Well, let's see if it does. Right, now I'm using a DVHS player here. It's backwardly compatible with VHS, but the reason I'm using this is because it's NTSC. I don't like that bit. Let's take that off. That's better. Right. Still don't trust it, but we'll give it a go. This machine's a little bit funny with loading, so I'm just going to shove my hand in after and make sure it drops down as it should do. It seems to be in there. Okay, play. Oh, alright, okay, don't play it then. Let's try again. Oh, let's give it one more go. Okay, well that's not going to work, so I'm going to give up on this idea. I do have a UK VHS machine, PAL obviously, but it does have quasi NTSC playback, so we'll give it a go in that instead. Okay, I've swapped to my trusty old Panasonic and I'm running it through the capture card to the screen that you see in front of you now. So let's give this one more go. Let's start the capture off so I can show this on screen if it does work. And here we go.
You want to audition in the A&E Great American Student Screen Test? You want a chance to win a role in an A&E original production? Well, get your act together. This is the big league. Students from all across the country are fighting for a callback. All you got to do is convince 2 of your classmates to join you and act out a scene from the A&E original movie presentation of F. Scott Fitzgerald's classic, The Great Gatsby. Here's how the pros do it.
A motion picture event that brings an American masterpiece to television. F. Scott Fitzgerald's timeless classic, Great Gatsby, coming this January to A&E.
Ask your teacher for details.
Yeah, that's all you get. 2 minutes 20 worth of video. Okay, let's rewind and see if we can get it out of the machine. But now the big question, will it eject? Making some encouraging sounds. There we go. That's something I'll never watch again. Now the most obvious way that the V-Lite has been simplified down is with the removal of the door that protects the tape. There's quite a bit of stuff in there. There's springs and goodness knows what else. In fact, I think it's probably worth taking apart a normal VHS cassette, getting all the bits out and seeing exactly what goes into one of these, and then having a look at what's inside the V-Lite. So let's get on with that. Right, I'd suggest that this is a pretty typical VHS cassette from the end of the VHS era. Earlier on there was even more parts in them than these, but we've got these metal roller sections here, a few little bits of plastic there, 4 springs, 5 screws, of course the tape reels, the housing, bit of metal in there as well, and that's the door. So yeah, quite a lot of stuff going on inside there. Let's see how this was simplified in the V-Lite. Right, well first off we've got no screws in here, it's just stuck together, so let's try and unstick it. Right, so that is a piece of plastic rather than card. I thought it was card, but there's a paper sticker on there of course, but this is plastic presumably because it needs that to glide against the reels. So those are the tape reels. We'll see if we can get those out. Oh, they're not even sort of fully formed. Those are springs to hold them in position. And then these should now drop out. So that's our tape. There's quite a bit in there. I'd imagine it's good for perhaps 15 minutes or so. And the rest of it is really just extruded polystyrene. We've got a piece of plastic around the outside here again. And these bits are sections where the tape is gliding over. Is that metal or felt metal? That? No, just hard plastic. Same with this piece then. And that seems to be stuck to the other side, so we'll just peel that off. Yeah, so there you go. Most of it is just polystyrene with pieces of plastic and a very simple reel layout, but it worked. It very much depends upon which bit of publicity you read from the time the V-Lite was out, but it was either described as a disposable video cassette format or a recyclable video cassette format. Those are two very different things. Based upon what it's made up of, plastic and polystyrene, I would suggest that this is not very recyclable. In fact, I had a look online just to see if this extruded polystyrene can be recycled because I wasn't aware it could be. It turns out on an industrial scale, yeah, it's kind of possible, but for you or I, if we had some polystyrene packaging in the house, we've got no one who'll take it off us and process it. No, it just ends up in the normal rubbish, the non-recyclable rubbish, and therefore ultimately probably ends up in landfill. And just think how many of these were produced for just that one promotional campaign for children's animated 30-minute movie. 20,000 were sent out. Those are probably still around somewhere in landfill sites, and that's just one campaign. I wonder how many other campaigns went out that maybe even sent more things out than that. It's perhaps fortunate then that the timing of the release of the V-Lite was very unfortunate for the company, but perhaps fortunate for the rest of us, because the patent was applied for in 1995. It seems like the first titles that use this format turned up round about 1997. Well, 95, 97, there's also another format that came out in between those dates, DVD. Now, the DVD took quite a few years to become the standard video consumption format, but as soon as it appeared, clearly the V-Lite's days were numbered, and within a few years, if you'd wanted to send a video out to a load of people, it's far more likely you'd have mailed them a DVD than you would a VHS. But then again, it's perhaps around this time that it's more likely you'd start putting little video clips up on the internet on one of those newfangled website things. But in fairness, it would take up until perhaps the mid-2000s before video on the internet became really a viable thing for many people to watch. However, if you wanted to promote something, you wanted people to look at a campaign, you could just put a website up, you could put some information on there, a few nice pictures. It's a lot easier than sending out a load of videotapes to people. So yeah, just create one website and have the people come to you instead. Somehow though, the V-Lite cassette managed to hang on into the early 2000s. On Discogs, they've got a list of the V-Lite tapes that people have catalogued on there, and there's a Mariah Carey video that's from 2002 that came out on V-Lite, but that seems to be the last one that I can find. Now, it's possible that quite a few viewers from the US remember V-Lite cassettes being posted through the door. I've never seen them before here in the UK. Of course, this was sent to me from the US. I don't think they ever made their way over here. We're not really a country where we get a lot of these mass mailings of things that have some value to them. Yeah, you get loads of junk mail, but it's just paper. It's not really physical things so much like this. It's amusing, though, when you look at this now, thinking that back in the day, it's only 20 or so years ago, you could send as many households in the US as you wanted a VHS tape, and you could pretty much guarantee that it'd have the equipment to play it on. I think nowadays, if you sent out VHSs, people wouldn't know what you were doing. But also, I mean, if you sent them anything, if you sent them any physical format, you can't guarantee nowadays that people have got the equipment to play it. It's all flipping smartphones and online video and all the rest of it. And it makes me feel very old, this, because just the idea of saying to someone, oh, back in my day, we didn't have all this YouTube business. Oh, no. If we wanted to watch a 3-minute video, we had to write off for it and get it sent in the post, and the post would have delivered it about a week later. Yeah, a bit of an exaggeration, but still, just the idea of having a few minutes worth of video posted to you, it's just ludicrous now when you think about it. Fortunately, I don't have to duplicate 200,000 copies of the video that you're watching now, so that I can send them out to all the people likely to view this from my subscriber list. I can imagine that would be a bit of a hassle. I'm sure there's some people that would quite like getting a videotape, but yeah, generally it's a lot easier if people just go on YouTube and click on the video that they want to see. It is progress, and in this case, it's progress in the right direction. If we were still in this kind of era, this channel, of course, wouldn't be able to exist. I wouldn't be able to make these videos, but also I wouldn't be able to make this video without the help of Scott from California, because he's the guy who sent this over to me. So thanks to Scott. But that is it for the moment. As always, thanks for watching.